little bit later, okay?
talking to you today. Just giving you a brief history of VFA 32 and some of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. Slide, please. So, most people know us as the swordsmen. We're also called the gypsies. The story behind this is... Of course you can. happy to take pictures. The Gypsies is what our nickname is, and that's mainly because we've been involved in every engagement since World War II. You can see the list of airplanes that we've flown. So many airplanes, many different. All the list of aircraft shown on the board. Finally settling on the F-18 Super Hornet around 2006.
The Foxtrot model or before the others model?
Nope. So we went from the F-14 model, which was the Tomcat, to the F-18 Foxtrot around 2006. Rhinoceros is a pretty big animal. It's much bigger compared to the original Hornet. The F-18F is the two-seat variant of that. You've got the pilot and the NFO. And our specialized missions, things that we can do, because we have two seats instead of one, we have what we call the FAC-A program, or the Forward Air Controller Airborne. So with two seats, we're allowed to control air-to-surface missions from the air, which is something that's unique to the F-18 Foxtrot. Slide, please. So what kind of missions can we do? We can do both air-to-air missions, so defensive counter-air, where we make sure that we're flying airborne to defend the carrier strike group and all the other ships from any other airplanes that might be flying. And then we have offensive counter-air, so we can fly out in a large group of airplanes for offensive type missions if we had that type of strike. We also are capable of executing our air-to-surface missions. Seeing on the news, dropping bombs on certain targets. That's a very big part of what we do. It's a big part of what we do into Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as Syria. So we have maritime strike, so the ability that we can potentially strike surface vessels, as well as the close air support role that we talked about. So talking to soldiers on the ground to help them guide us to where to put our bombs. There, we have on the center line tank of the F-18. They'll let out that drogue that you see there with the basket, and it's the other pilot's job to put out his probe and essentially align with that basket to take on fuel. Slide, please. So for the other Super Hornet capabilities, you see that there, with respect to, it looks like an eyeball off the side of the airplane. That system integration is what we call an AT FLIR, and that's something that allows us to see smaller objects far away. So you can find another airplane that's far away that you couldn't necessarily see with the naked eye, or if we're dropping bombs on the ground, that's something that allows us to see a close-up picture of what we're actually going to drop our bomb on. But it also has the ability to utilize a laser, so we can use the laser on the ground to find our target. This picture here on the left is going to be what the front seat looks like. You see the stick, and just off the side here is the throttles, where you can add or reduce power. And then we've got quite a few different displays. So you see the 4 primary displays for the front seat, as well as our fuel display. So that tells us how much fuel we have left in the jet and how our engines are operating. If you look to the picture on the right, that's going to be what our back seat looks like. The big difference in the back seat, since we don't have the stick, there's more room for this fork display here, much larger, that helps us see the area that we're operating in. As well as down at the bottom, instead of the stick that you see in the front seat, you've got 2 separate hand controls that allow us to manipulate those screens without actually pushing the buttons. And so that AT FLIR that we saw, like that big eyeball on the side of the plane, that helps us see specific points on the ground. This is just a screen capture of a strike into Syria. So you see the crosshairs that basically show us the center of the building, and then the bomb dropping essentially at the exact pinpoint where we had at the center of that building. Here you can see when we wear the helmet and you put the visor all the way down, it gives you all of your target information as well as your navigation, so you don't actually have to look down or back into the aircraft to see where you're going or to see where specific targets are at. So the Super Hornet, while we don't obviously carry all of this at the same time, these are all the different weapons that we're capable of carrying. So for air-to-air, we have the AIM-9X as well as the AIM-120. for air missions, and then for air to surface, we have just a plethora of guided as well as unguided bombs with the different variations shown in the picture to show you all the things that we're capable of carrying. So a lot of different ordnance. So for flight operations, what do we do when we fly? Initially, for the most junior aircrew, when they first come, they have a syllabus. So it's almost like more schooling for them just to learn how to fly specific missions. And that's a process. That syllabus can take 1 to 2 years while they're here at the squadron. And in the meantime, they're still able to fly combat missions.
So it's limited combat ready?
Excuse me?
A limited combat ready?
Yes. And then for a day-to-day flight, say I was going flying today, there's pre-flight planning. So just finding out which jet I'm flying, what kind of ordnance I'm carrying, what time of day am I going to fly, and then the flight brief where everybody who's going to fly today gets together in a room like this, or maybe even a larger room, depending on the size of the flight, and we talk about what we're doing today, how we plan on getting there, what the weather's going to be like, who are the people that we need to talk to as we go execute our flight. And then from there, we'll talk about execution and tactics. So are we dropping bombs today? Are we just going to be doing a surveillance mission? And depending on what kind of mission, how are we going to accomplish that mission? And then finally, going to talk, we go outside here to the maintenance desk, and the maintenance desk tells us how our airplane is doing, if there have been any problems reported on that specific airplane. So that's something we can talk about. After all of that flight briefing, we're going to go execute our mission. You see out to the north in the Persian Gulf, that's where we are generally stationed, so we can execute missions in Syria, with the little picture of the carrier shown there. And then for executing missions in Iraq or Afghanistan, that's where we would execute the carriers south, usually like in the Gulf of Oman, and then flying north into Afghanistan. So remember how we talked about that tanking, or how many times we refuel on a mission? This is an example of what we call big wing tanking, so one of those larger Air Force platforms.
AC tanks.
Exactly. So the basket where we would receive fuel looks a little different than the basket that we have for the F-18.
It's larger or small?
It's larger. But still, the concept is still the same. So if you can do one, then you can do the other. It's not.
It's easier, possibly.
It can be, yes, because it's a bigger airplane, so sometimes it doesn't move around as much. So that does make it easier at times. Yes, sir. Slide, please. And then, as if it wasn't hard enough, you fly 7 to 9 hours. You still have to come back and land on the aircraft carrier. You still have to come back when the weather's bad, when the ship is rocking, all things like that. And the gentlemen there wearing the white jacket, they're the ones that help you land, so they're very helpful. But realize after everything that you've done, your landing on the boat is also graded. So you receive a grade for how well you can land on the boat, even after a combat mission. So our future right now, obviously we're at the very beginning of our deployment cycle. So that'll last anywhere from 7 to 8 months. And then from there, we'll come home and start our training all over again. Some pilots will leave after about 3 years, and we'll get new ones. And they'll receive the same type of training, and we'll do the same type of practice leading up to our next deployment, whenever that is.
I know that Navy is going to keep on duty F-18 for many years.
Yes, I think that they should keep the F-18 around for a very long time. I think it still has many years of flying left in it, and is capable of flying for a lot more years.
inside the aircraft doing maintenance to make sure that the aircraft are safe to be flown. You can take photos and videos in here, but again, no flash.
Okay.
No flash. I don't want anyone to fall.
They're going to play the Italian national anthem and the American national anthem. So.
If you're in flight deck uniform, you need to strike below. Flight deck uniform, strike below. Please strike below until we're done landing the helo.
Have to come over here.
Si può aspetta, è VF o VF? No, c'è la freccia al tongue, quindi quando allora combattente.
He's the security guy. So he's doing anti-terrorism force watch.
Feels like another way for me right now. So I don't even know where to put it until after maybe like 2 months. I'll be like, what's one burrito?
Yes, it is. The chairs, brand new too. Yes.